In today's episode of the Scotsman World Cup podcast, we'll have the latest from the Scotland camp from our chief football correspondent, Alan Patullo, alongside all of the latest headlines from across the pond. Hello and welcome back to the Scotsman World Cup podcast as the tournament edges closer. In today's edition of the show, we'll be chatting to Alan Patullo over in America at Scotland's base camp, fresh from the Scotland press conference. But first and foremost, Alan, how are you? How's the heat? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. I'm okay, surviving. Heat's not too bad today. I don't know if you can see from behind me, it's a bit overcast, so the sun isn't beating down like it was yesterday for Scotland's first training session here in Charlotte. I think the players have been given a day off today, actually, which I don't know. Maybe they've missed a trick slightly. Maybe players could be out there today, and when it's not so hot, having a training session. But anyway, they're off. But we've been talking. Craig Gordon, the hard-working Craig Gordon. He was sent into a press conference today already this morning. So we've had some words with him, and obviously he's one of the big stories, the big areas of debate, isn't he, ahead of the game against Haiti, Graham, in terms of who's going to be given the number one jersey.
I think 43 years of age. I think we were speaking about it before off air. I think that might be the second oldest if he does play. But look, you're fresh out that press conference with Craig Gordon. I think all of us have had the pleasure of speaking to Craig, a great guy who obviously speaks really, really well. He'll be super excited to be getting in and confident as always. But what are the headlines from the Scotland camp, Alan? What's the latest?
Yeah, Craig, he was just obviously asked about, whether what he thinks, whether he's confident of being given the jersey. And I think, we all know Craig Gordon, as you say, and he's somebody who has great belief in his own ability. And I think he truly believes that he should be the one that's between the sticks on the weekend. And as you say, creating some more history. I mean, every time he takes the pitch, it seems to be some record that he's breaking, isn't there, in terms of oldest this and oldest that. Possibly not the oldest player ever to appear in a World Cup. I think an Egyptian goalkeeper has that accolade. But yeah, he looks good. He looks fit, as you'd expect. And I watched the goalkeepers warming up yesterday in the heat. They had an open training session yesterday, and it was just quite interesting seeing them. They're all. It's a funny thing with goalkeepers, isn't it? They're very a very clubbable group of people, aren't they? They have to stick together. The goalkeepers union, but at the same time, they're obviously in fierce competition with each other in terms of who's going to get the nod. I think that it obviously it's down to two, isn't it? It's Gunn or Gordon, the two Gs. Liam Kelly is very much the number three. So. Yeah, I think Steve Clarke will keep us guessing right up until kickoff on Saturday night in Boston, and fascinating one to consider. I think it will be Angus Gunn that gets the nod. Just the fact that he started the last friendly, possibly the pointer towards that. But then again, even the fact Craig Gordon was sent in as into the press conference today, you kind of think, well, maybe he's going to be the one that plays. So, it's going to be an interesting few days as we continue to cogitate over that dilemma that Steve Clarke has.
Talked about you thought it was going to be Angus Gunn there. There's a couple of clues: the fact that he played against Bolivia, the fact that I don't know if anyone reads into this, but the squad number he was given the number one. I suppose you can't read too much into it, but he might feel favoured by that. But I'm going to flip this on to you, Alan. I'm sure you wouldn't want the pressure, but say you were Steve Clarke, where would you be going? Because I know you're a bit of a romantic when it comes to these sort of things. So would you be tempted to go with Craig Gordon and Old Trusty?
Yeah, well, having seen Craig Gordon pull off that amazing save in January against Dundee at Dens Park, you think, well, yeah, he's still capable of making world-class saves. So the World Cup is the perfect stage for him. And as you say, I'm a football romantic at heart, and I love the thoughts of Craig Gordon finishing his career, if it is to be the end of his career, at this perfect stage of a World Cup. So, but at the same time, you have to be pragmatic. You have to think Scotland have taken 28 years to get back to a World Cup. Steve Clarke can't be there. Can't be sort of bowing to sentiment in terms of who's going to pick. And he's got two goalkeepers of I don't know if you would say equal ability, possibly. And Angus Gunn, although he's been absent for most of this year in terms of first team football, he's been training at high level at Nottingham Forest, and And you have to imagine that Steve Clarke has been sending his spies to watching him train, just like he's been sending Chris Woods, the goalkeeper coach, up to Rickerton to watch Craig Gordon train. It's a funny thing, isn't it? I mean, it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination to think you're going into a World Cup and that's your two goalkeepers have only been watched in training rather than in games. But that is where we are, and we just have to accept that. So, but yeah, I think you're right, Graham. I think the number one number being given to Angus Gunn was a kind of early pointer to think, well, he possibly is the man in possession of the jersey. So, I think he will be the one that walks out against Haiti on Saturday night.
I think you look at the trust that Steve Clarke has in his team as well, and I think as much as Craig Gordon's been a fantastic goalkeeper, and what a great story just in general. I mean, I'll make no bones about it. I'm a Sunderland fan, and when he left Sunderland, he had 2 years out of the game. To think he'd still be playing at 43 is just a fabulous story. But if we go back to the Greece game, I think it was Angus Gunn made a fantastic save when I think it would have been 2-1 at the time. Can't quite remember which place he saved it from, but Angus Gunn has also stepped up for Scotland as well, hasn't he, in the qualifying tournament? And, if he is to play, he's earned that right as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I remember that save. I guess Carestas, possibly the young wonder kid. I think I remember that. It really was a superb save. So yeah, you're right. I mean, Angus Gunn has the ability to pull out these stops very much like Craig Gordon. And I kind of mentioned that save against Dundee, which wasn't a title-winning save in the end, obviously, but so yeah, Craig Gordon, what a few weeks he's had, isn't he? To have to put up with that disappointment of Hearts losing the league on the last day. I know he wasn't obviously involved in the squad, but to be amongst the group, and then to have that disappointment. But hopefully, being here has been a good pickup for him. I mean, he's training at a World Cup. He's involved in a World Cup. Possibly something he would never have thought would have been possible in those dark years when he was out of the game with injury. You know all about that, Graham. And I think he possibly will be treating this as a bit of a bonus, but that's not to say he'll be any less eager to want to actually participate now he's here. So we'll see. And who knows? I mean, goodness, Scotland have had bad luck with injuries, haven't they, in terms of goalkeeper? And whoever plays on Saturday against Haiti, who knows what might happen in terms of in the heats and how they react. They could pick up injury or something, and it's a squad game. Steve Clarke has already said that all 26 players are going to play a part, so we'll see.
I think when we look at the game itself, well, 4 days away, it's Sunday morning or Saturday night, whichever way you want to look at it. Looking at the temperature over there in Foxborough in Massachusetts, I think it's currently 25 degrees, but there's a 45% humidity, which doesn't sound too bad, although it might to some, but there's barely any wind there. I mean, you've been there now a day or so, obviously a different area, but how is this humidity? I mean, we're used to a different temperature entirely. How is it for you, and how do you think people respond to it?
I'll tell you after tomorrow afternoon, Graham, when we've got a media game. We've got a media game, a game of 7-a-sides behind me, and one of the pitches behind me here at the Charlotte FC Training Centre. So, yeah, I'll I'm slightly trepidatious about that, pulling on the boots and getting out there and feeling the heat, feeling what these guys are going to have to put up with. So, that'd be quite interesting, sort of first-person experience. So, and we would take some pictures. You can see me when I come off the pitch, red-cheeked and bedraggled, I'm sure, but no, it's not, as I say, today isn't as bad as it was yesterday, so I kind of wish we were playing today. But I think it's set to get very, very hot again at the end of the week, so it's definitely a concern and definitely something that, well, Steve Clarke's talked about. The 11 starters against Haiti. I mean, obviously that people want to be in that starting 11, but there's going to be several players that have a part to play as well. It is very much a squad game, this World Cup.
Really, really pleased I'm not involved in that media game at all. For anyone who watched our highlights of me trying, in inverted commas, to replicate some of Scotland's best goals over the period of time. But we look at the World Cup starting in 2 days. Obviously, it doesn't start in America. It starts in Mexico in a fantastic arena, in the Azteca Arena, with Mexico versus South Africa, which might not be kind of a stable game, but I actually can't wait to see the atmosphere and what it's going to be like in Mexico. Obviously, you're across the border there in America, but is there a sense of anticipation across Scotland, with obviously Scotland being back for for a generation of Scotland fans, this is the first time they're going to see it. There's loads of them travelling over there just now. Is there a feeling within the camp and within the media and people over there of what's about to come? Because it's felt like it's taken forever to come, and now it's literally on the cusp of beginning for Scotland and the tournament in general.
I know, you're right. It's kind of it's been on the horizon for so long. I mean, since that Denmark game, and you just saying it, Graham, in your introduction, it's 48 hours away till the actual tournament starts. It sort of brings it home that here we are. This really is. We really are in the countdown mode. And I mean, I was at the last Scotland World Cup match in France '98, 3-0 loss to Morocco. And if somebody said there as I left the stadium in St Etienne that it would take 28 years until I saw Scotland again at a World Cup, I'd be astonished. And I was a young man back then. Now, aged 53, and I'm feeling feeling a lot of concern about playing an hour of football tomorrow night. It's a lot has happened in those couple of nearly 3 decades. So that is a measure of the enormity of the moment that's coming, and we'll be addressing that, I'm sure, over the next few days, and we have been addressing it, but. It does feel very, very big in this camp, in the Scotland camp. But I have to say, in Charlotte itself, we're in North Carolina here. You're not feeling the World Cup buzz quite so much. You get into taxis. Well, we had a taxi driver here just today to the training centre. He was a Colombian, so he was actually getting quite excited, talking about his country being involved. But Americans, not to quite the same extent. They're wrapped up in other sports just now. The Knicks are playing in the NBA final, and that's a big talking point just now, sporting wise. And then obviously the Stanley Cup as well is going on, and a team from North Carolina as Hurricanes, I think they're involved. So when you turn the TV on, I'm not saying it's always World Cup. World Cup chat that's happening. It's a lot of other sports. So it's interesting. And I guess we kind of knew that was going to be the case because America isn't quite the football obsessed country that we are in Scotland. So, but yeah, it's interesting. And being amongst in the Scotland, in the hubbub here, we really are. I really am feeling the sort of anticipation building.
Before I let you go, Alan, the final question, and I think this is a really important one. Other people might disagree, but the Scotland new home shirt, the salmon or the pink or whichever you want to call it, is completely sold out until the 1st of July across Scotland. So final question, can you find any over there? And if so, can you pick me one up? I'm an extra large if you can find one.
Well, you don't surprise me because I did notice that the Scotland Curaçao game, wasn't it? You looked around Hampden, it was a sea of, it wasn't a sea of tartan, it wasn't a sea of dark blue, it was a sea of salmon pink. So you think, just about, every second person seems to be wearing that top. It's obviously very, very, very popular. So I'll do my best, Graham, and see if I can pick one up. I've actually packed a Scotland top for this game tomorrow. So I've got my Euro '96 era Scotland top. So I'll be wearing that tomorrow. So I can bring that back and you can have that if you want. I'll give it a wash.
A classic. Alan, thanks very much for joining. I'm sure there'll be, as we get 24 hours away tomorrow, more to talk about, and then the closer we get to the game of a 2 a.m. kickoff in the morning, it's going to be a different experience for all of us, but I suppose it's one that the country's waited 28 years for, so why not play it at 5 a.m. if you have to? Who cares, as long as it's going to come. But Alan, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the sun or the muggy, humid heat, whatever it may be, and thanks for joining.
Cheers, Graham.